We have some fantastic news. Last night, Democrats won in a Republican district in Texas, flipping it from red to blue. This was a state Senate seat in District 9 of Texas. It's a district that Donald Trump won by over 17 points in 2024. Now, the Democrat won it big time, a 32-point swing versus the 2024 presidential election. You can see the results down here. It wasn't very close. And this wasn't some random race. This is a race where Donald Trump actually endorsed the Republican candidate, and they still lost in a Republican district. Also, this district is the biggest Republican county in the entire United States. Maybe not anymore. It also hasn't voted Democratic in half a century. Every single Republican should be terrified looking at this. A Trump plus 17 district. A Trump endorsement did not save this Republican candidate, a 34-point swing toward Democrats. If that happens all over the country, we are looking at not a blue wave, we're looking at a blue tsunami.
34 points. In Texas. Let's be real. Endorsements used to mean something. Now, they're basically a curse. This candidate had everything, the money, the backing, the built-in advantage of a district that's been red for decades, and she got destroyed. That's not just losing. That's a message. Voters aren't buying what you're selling anymore.
Wow, we have major news out of Texas where the election results are starting to come in, and the Democrat Taylor Remitt is taking an early lead in this special election for a majorly red district. Just so you have some context, this is Tarrant County where President Donald Trump won by more than 17 percentage points in 2024. And the early voting is showing that the Democrat is winning by at least 12%. So that's a flip of 30%. And this guy is an Air Force veteran and a Democrat, and this woman is the conservative. Interestingly enough, this is not going to be a very long position. It's only 11 months, but this is a big deal in terms of trying to maybe glean what's happening in the rest of Texas as well as the rest of the country. Because Democrats might have a possibility of flipping Senate District 9 as well as other red-leaning seats.
Here's what keeps Republicans up at night. It's not one seat, it's the pattern. Political momentum is contagious. When voters see change is possible, they show up. And the arrogance of thinking you've got seats locked, that's exactly what loses elections. It's easy to cheer for tariffs and deportations when it's theoretical. But when your eggs cost $8, when your neighbor gets dragged away, when your business is going under, suddenly that ideology doesn't feel so comfortable anymore. People vote with their wallets. And right now, those wallets are empty.
We cannot take our eye off the prize, which is the people. The people have to win. This election should not be about the things that ultimately will happen, which is personalities and who I like better. It should be about who is it that has a track record of always standing up and fighting for us and can actually win, because you're going to need to have somebody. It's not going to be good enough to kind of just be like, oh, well, we've got a Democrat that's running and, they've never been attacked or whatever. You can't, that ain't enough. We're going to have those people that are coming out and naturally voting against Trump. But we're also going to need somebody that can bring out people that don't normally vote. And that's really the part that I think a lot of the pundits are like, oh, every Democrat says they're going to expand the electorate, but you got to get Republicans. And it's like, whatever.
Also, by the way, you can't win Texas if you don't bring people who don't vote out, because Texas is a non-voting state because of the laws and the cynicism. And this is where I'm I am so glad that both you and James are running. And, James is going to be on the show too. I'm a fan of his as well. But in general, what it takes in Texas to get a Democrat elected statewide, which we don't even know because it really hasn't happened in our lifetime or since the beginning of it, is about getting people who do not believe in the system or that it works for them to be inspired, to have hope, to have somebody to be inspired by. And that's why it's the two of you also being so dynamic and different. It's good. Get as many people registered as possible just out of a sense of hope, because that's going to shift the whole electorate. And if you know this, you shift Texas, you shift the whole country.
This is what Republicans don't understand. They think low voter turnout is their friend, built their entire strategy around making voting harder, and now it's backfiring. There are way more non-voters than voters, especially in Texas, and most aren't sitting out because they love the status quo. They've been beaten down by a system that ignores them. But give people something to vote for? they show up. Eventually, people get mad enough to jump through all your hoops anyway.
And we've been, so excited to hear the stories of people that are like, I don't vote, but like, I'm voting for you. And so, theoretically, like our theory seems like it's working. We'll know, and we will do a deep dive after the primary. And it is my hope that we can extrapolate and show how many non-voting people, not if a non-voter comes out in the primary, that's like next level. Like, cause like these are like, I mean, that is next level. We will see that. And so it is my hope that we can extrapolate those numbers of those non-voters that were so motivated that they came out in the primary and say, y'all ain't never seen this before. So when we start to talk about a general, this is why it's different. The moment is different for the Republicans because it's just really bad. This is the first time that I can think of that the Republicans are absolutely going to a runoff. So they're going to be fighting for a lot longer. So they're fighting until May. We can continue to work. We can continue to get around people. We can take advantage of the fact that they are beating up on one another and spending a lot of their money. So I'm like, this is really good for us. Like this is the best case scenario for the Democrats. Like it really is. And so I'm just excited.
She's right. While Democrats celebrate and build momentum, Republicans are in a civil war, going to a runoff. Months more of attacking each other, spending money on each other. This is what happens when your party has no actual ideology, just vibes, and vibes don't survive contact with reality.
If Dan Patrick and Greg Abbott are having a bad day, I'm having a good day. And more importantly, the state of Texas is having a good day. Congratulations to Tarrant County. They flipped a hard right red seat. And I'm so proud of them. Those of you that do not live in this state don't understand what we live with here and how hard it is. And they did it. They did it. And any day that's a bad day for Dan Patrick is a good day for me.
I love this energy. People fighting in Texas for years have been told it's impossible, that they're wasting their time. They kept fighting anyway. While politicians were busy posting memes about having Texas locked up forever, actual organizers were knocking on doors, having conversations. That's how you win, not Twitter dunks. Organizing, power grid failures, abortion bans, book banning, voter suppression. People remember who did that to them. Enjoy your bad day, boys. There's more coming.
In the mood for some good news? Now I'm going to tell you the good news, but behind that good news, I want you to stay tuned because there's some more good news. And then behind that good news, there's a lesson for all of us to take away that maybe will make us a little bit less depressed as we watch the news every damn day. You may have seen the news out of Texas that Taylor Remmett, a Democrat, won a state Senate seat in a special election in a district that Trump won by 17 points. Now, if you're a political junkie, you may have already heard all of that news. But the story that nobody's really talking about, the reason that Taylor Remmett was in that race is because in 2017, a woman named Amanda Littman, fresh with grief coming off of the Hillary campaign, decided to found an organization called Run for Something. And Taylor Remmett signed up. Amanda knew we needed to recruit candidates for races nobody thought we could win across the country, young, progressive candidates. And so she built an organization to do just that. That's what happens when you see a problem nobody seems to be able to fix and you step in to fix it. That's how these upstart victories happen. That's how we turn the corner. Look, I'm not asking you to write 2 books and launch a national organization. I'm trying to tell you that there are opportunities for you to contribute your leadership. And I'm asking you if you're going to step up and lead.
This hits different. Amanda Littman starting Run for Something after a devastating loss. Taylor Remmett signing up years ago for a race nobody thought he could win. That's what change looks like. Not waiting for permission. Just doing something. School boards, city councils, state legislatures. The other side shows up for all of it. Time to match that energy.
So we've got a major upset alert, Justin. Democrat Taylor Remmett has been projected the winner of the Texas Senate District 9 special election, flipping a district that went Trump plus 17 in 2024 and has not elected a Democrat since 1991. And looking at the data that's coming in right now, it doesn't even look like this is going to be particularly close. Remmett is a Union leader and an Air Force veteran. This was a runoff election for the seat. And it's worth noting, too, that Trump personally endorsed Republican Lee Wham Afghans and spent days hyping this race with multiple posts and still lost. This is a massive win for the Democrats, a major flip in a deep red Texas seat, and continues this trend of Democratic overperformances in elections since Trump's election. We're going to keep following all the news, so remember to spread the word and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
This is a seat that hadn't elected a Democrat in over 34 years. It's a plus 17% Trump district. Our candidate won decisively last night, and he was outspent by $2.1 million. He was outspent by $2.1 million, and he still won that seat. He flipped that seat. Again, it's a great way to start the year. We've got positive momentum and wind at our back. I couldn't be more excited, and congratulations to now State Representative-elect Remit.
Outspent by $2.1 million and still won. You can't buy enthusiasm. You can't buy trust. All that dark money, all those attack ads, voters said, nah, we're good. People are tired of culture war garbage. Tired of book banning and scapegoating and tax cuts for billionaires. Taylor Remit, union guy, veteran, talked about working class issues. That's the winning formula. Actually helping people, not owning the libs. Take notes.
Texas Dems flipped a very red seat in their favor. No Democrat has represented this area in nearly 50 years, and Trump won this district in 2024 by over 17 points. So what happened? The Latino vote, which helped Trump win in 2024 but has grown more and more disapproving of his administration after widespread racial profiling and aggressive deportation strategies by ICE. The Democrat who won, Taylor Remit, is a union guy who made his campaign about the working class, which is how he was able to win over even some moderate Republicans. Because, as many voters noted, eggs still ain't cheaper under Trump. Remet's rival, conservative Lee Wamsghan, spent way more money and was endorsed by the president, something Trump seems to have no recollection of posting. Republicans are trying to say it's just a special election, we never perform well for those, or it's just a fluke, but add this on top of last November.
You sure? Just a fluke. The copium is unreal. How many flukes before you admit there's a pattern? Kansas, Ohio, Wisconsin, now Texas. Maybe it's not a fluke. Maybe people just don't like you. Maybe when you spend your time attacking vulnerable communities instead of governing, people notice.
Sure about that? We have different beliefs, and that's totally fine. But I don't get how you don't see that Democrats are majorly infringing on MAGA's freedom of speech. What do you mean? Like, I can't say anything political without being majorly judged or attacked. Attacked how? Like if I say anything political. My hairstylist dropped me as a client. Kathy Hopkins uninvited me from her 40th birthday party. My mom said I can't talk at Thanksgiving because I'm embarrassing. How is that not infringing on my rights? Well, you have a right to say those things, right? You weren't arrested. And the government didn't knock on your door and say, hey, Glenn, knock it off right now or we're taking you to prison. Not yet. Not ever. Especially with this administration and what you're saying. You can say those things, but other people have a right to say, hey, I don't want to hang out with Glenn because he says really horrible things. So exactly. So you're telling me I have to filter myself and my beliefs. Oh, I'm not telling you to do anything. But I will tell you, I don't feel like I have to filter mine with anyone. Like, I'm not afraid to say, hey, I think immigrants shouldn't be taken to concentration camps. To anyone, even your dad. Yeah, but my dad can't stand you. And that doesn't bother me, because I'm not worried about being judged or hated by people who buy alligator Alcatraz merch. Come on, that was so funny. Was it? Anyway, I gotta start getting ready. Ready for what? Kathy Hopkins' birthday party. Are you kidding me?
Does that smell like hope? A Texas county might have just unleashed a blue wave leading into the midterms. I'm Nathan Smith. I'm an Army combat veteran running for district clerk in Tarrant County, Texas, Texas' biggest battleground county. So last night, Democrat Taylor Remit won a Texas special Senate election against Republican Lee Wamsghan. We don't need to know her name for a while, okay? Taylor beat a vile Republican book banning extremist in a district that Trump had won in 2024 by 17 points. Guys, that just doesn't happen often in politics. But if you're on the ground here in Tarrant County, it may not be as surprising as it seems. Let me explain. I've talked a lot in past videos about how Tarrant County is a purple battleground county, which means that Democrats are often winning at the top of the ticket, but those Democratic voters are not going down ballot and voting in the Texas legislature races like what Taylor was running for, or yes, for county government races like what I will be on the ballot for in November. So it's not that the voters are not there for Democrats in Tarrant County. The issue has been that they have not been talked to and mobilized and the importance of voting down ballot has not been explained to them. And so that is finally starting to change in Tarrant County. And frankly, it didn't just start with Taylor. I was involved last May here in Mansfield with the local school board races, where a group of 3 pro-public education candidates were running against a block of right-wing extremists who were backed by Lee Womganant, the book ban lady. And they ran as a block and reached out to tons of voters through a really ground-oriented, volunteer-driven campaign. The reason Taylor was able to win last night is he basically executed really, really well on that exact same strategy. He used a volunteer-driven campaign to blunt the sellout money advantage of the book ban lady. Because the thing is, if you have enough volunteers who are willing to reach out to their neighbors and knock on doors for you, you're gonna start a lot of conversations with voters and they're gonna hear your message. One thing to note though is that in both of those campaigns, they were both able to raise enough money to be able to fuel those volunteer-focused campaigns. But the cool thing is that in a volunteer-focused campaign, it doesn't take as much money to get your message out because you're not having to pay folks to do those door knocks. You just have to pay for what goes on the door. So look, Taylor just reminded us of the blueprint we can use in November to finally flip county government blue. So if you want to help me with that, either with your volunteer sweat or your dollars, write change in the comments section and I'll reach out.
It's time to speak up. I've got a little bit of good news for you. Even out of the reddest state of Texas, the people have had it. MAGA, if you think you're in the majority, you might want to count again because you're not even in Texas. So I know Facebook is for old people, but I'm kind of old. If you don't follow Governor Abbott, it is worth it. Go on and go look at Governor Abbott just to read the comments because he posted today that Texas was going to preemptively send out the National Guard so we don't have any of the lawlessness like in California. And the people of Texas are losing their ever-loving mind and telling him about it. That's right. Even here, the vast majority of the comments are telling him how ridiculous he is and that this is a complete overstep. So even in red Texas, we're learning, we're changing. So MAGA, if you think you're in the majority, you might want to count again because you're not even in Texas. And if you can't have the majority in Texas, it's time to pack up. It's time to pack up and go home, MAGA, because your days are numbered.
Even in Texas, people are waking up. The silent majority myth is crumbling. When people actually show up, when there's a real choice, the extremists lose. You're not the majority. You never were. You just benefited from low turnout and gerrymandering. Now the dam is cracking. People are roasting their own governor in the comments. In Texas. That's not normal. That's a shift.
But yeah, go read the comments, guys. I promise it's worth it. It's gold. And yeah.
So the federal government is shut down again, but this time it's only a partial shutdown. So let me explain what that means. Basically, parts of the federal government, several departments, including the Department of Transportation, Department of Education, State Department, the Pentagon, and the Department of Homeland Security are not fully funded right now. And the Department of Homeland Security is key to all of this. Last Friday, the Senate agreed to cut a deal to fund parts of the government fully through September, but start a 2-week debate period about the funding for DHS, particularly over the tactics used by ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, especially after the killing of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. So the Senate was able to pass that legislation, but now it heads over to the House, and that is where things can get really tricky. Speaker Mike Johnson has a razor-thin majority right now in the House of Representatives, so he needs every Republican to vote for this bill, and that's not a sure thing at this moment. Also in question is how some House Democrats may vote for these measures. So only time will tell how long this government shutdown will last, but a reminder, the last government shutdown was a record and lasted for 42 days in some parts of the government.
Texas isn't as red as they told you. Money can't buy elections when your message sucks. Change is possible. Stay engaged. Vote. Every election, not just the big ones. That's how seats flip. One race at a time. Drop a comment. Fluke or pattern. Like. Subscribe. Share with someone who needs hope today.